Hello, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti, Synergy, episode 40. And with me tonight is Patrick.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Um, so, we were just talking before the broadcast. You know, oh, let me, oh,
Do we have
gotta,
feedback?
gotta, that's just a video playing. Um, so, yeah, uh, I'm not really sold on tonight's theme. So we're just gonna chit chat about a bunch of things, and whatever the main theme is, I'll make that the title when
That
I'm done.
works. We'll wing it.
We'll wing it, because that's how we do things around here.
Of course, yeah. It'll turn out good anyway.
Yeah. So Patrick's from the 100s community, and we're both going to be the.
Oh, I'm echoing now too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We're both going to be part of the anthology. Um, I'm going to be working on a short story for my character Retro, which is my first 100 days, and eventually my second 100 days uh, is focused on Bright Eyes. The first 100 days also had little bits of other things I have going on, other books I'm working on, creations of my own and stuff. The second one's going to be only focused on Bright Eyes. But I thought for the anthology, because I don't want to give Bright Eyes away, because it starts off in one place and really goes somewhere else before she really becomes something. Without giving anything away.
I like that really vague way of
Yeah.
describing
But, I figured, well, Retro's a hero in the first issue. He's in costume, and I'll eventually get into his origin story down the line. But I figured I could sort of give away the origin of his name without really divulging any other secrets. And that might make for a very interesting short story and something very special for the anthology.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to, I have an artist for Retro, but for the anthology, I'm going to write, pencil, ink, and even color it myself.
Very cool.
Yeah, because I think it was decided that we're doing 6 pages.
Yeah, like somewhere around 6 pages. I don't know if it needs to be exact or not, but at least 6 pages was what was decided in the polls.
Yeah, so we have 100 days to work on it. So I think I should be able to do it.
Yeah, that was kind of my reasoning. Is like 6 pages doesn't seem too bad in 100 days. It seems doable.
Yeah, it should. A very interesting time. I didn't count the number of people involved, but let's say it's a dozen. A dozen people doing 100 days of making short stories should really put us on the map, maybe.
That's true. Yeah, doing all that at once, it's probably going to gain a bit of attention.
Yeah. So I'm stoked for it.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited.
So what are you doing? You want to give it away?
Uh, it'll be a surprise to the audience and myself because I'm
Uh,
not too sure just yet.
Oh, okay.
Um, I hadn't really delved too much into it. I was kind of treating it more like, like the 24-hour comic challenge where you have to, like, in the 24 hours conceive and create and all that. In my mind, I was like, yeah, I don't even have to think about it till January. I'll just, come up with an idea then. I should probably think of something before, however. But I don't know. I've got some kind of random ideas. Nothing really set in stone. Nothing really solid yet, though. Unfortunately, so it'll be a surprise, basically.
All right, that's always good.
I'm just really excited about the project in general. The whole idea of it's really cool. Like just all of us working together to make something like physical that we can like sell and give out, and just like people can read it. That's honestly the part that's most exciting about comics to me, is that you make a thing that like actually gets printed and exists and it's bound and people can enjoy it and read it, and that's something that really appeals to me.
Yeah. Um, well, the most exciting thing is that the fact that there's a bunch of us and we're all going to be involved in this one book. And I mean, go look at Kickstarter. There's been a bunch of them that were collections of artists. One that comes to mind was Women in Comics, and it did gangbusters. And I think between all of us that are going to be part of it, that our audiences combined, we should get pretty good results on people wanting to pick it up and check it out. And
Definitely.
and if we're all promoting it, the promotion will be wild. And
Oh heck yeah!
yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think there's like 20 artists or something like that now. Like it's a pretty involved project.
yeah,
Really more
yeah,
than
it will have pinups by those. I mean, some are doing stories and pinups,
that.
but people that uh, can't commit just doing pinups. So yeah, it's going to be lots of great stuff in it. And it's not official, but Kevin Cross might do the cover. We shall see. Fingers crossed.
I heard about that, which I don't know. That idea really brings a cool like full circle sort of story to the whole thing. Because he was the one who started the idea. He's kind of the reason, like maybe steps apart, but he's kind of the reason we all kind of joined in and became this group and did this. And so if he did that little touch on the anthology, I don't know, just it's a really cool way to wrap it all up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd personally be happy, like, if he can't commit to a cover or a pinup or whatever, um, just to have, like, maybe some of Monkey Mod in there, or, like
Yeah,
his original Monkey Mod story, just print that in there. I don't care.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, as long as he's involved a little bit, it'd be kind of cool. He doesn't have to, but
Yeah,
that's kind of
yeah.
neat.
So,
I know
that's coming
it's
up early next year.
yep. You'll probably be seeing a lot of videos from a lot of people about it.
Yeah, well, definitely won't be able to keep up with everybody at that
No,
point.
definitely not. I'll
Mm,
too much time trying to make my own videos and comic and all that, so
yeah.
I'll have to watch it later.
um, so I mentioned like I wanted to get a video out today, and I filmed it and worked on it, and it wasn't too special. It wasn't, but it's a comment on what I'm going to be focusing on now. Um, and yeah, so I edited, and around 6 o'clock, I went to upload it. I waited 10 minutes, I waited 15 minutes, waited 20 minutes, and it just wasn't going anywhere. It was like 8% uploaded, and I was like, okay, this is just traffic happening right now, internet traffic, and it's going to take forever. So I figured, okay, I'll just upload it later. have better luck later in the night. Um, and then I went to look for my files, and they were gone.
Oh, that
ADD.
sucks.
I think I cleaned my files and accidentally erased them all, and
Oh
it was
no.
like, oh man, all that all that work. But it wasn't, you know. Um, there were issues that I had with the video, like the audio seemed to be a little off. So I know essentially, you know, what I said, and I could probably just make a shorter episode. It was sort of a vlog about what my focus is going to be on now. And I spoke about this, you know, I did the last episode of Studio Synergy was a solo episode, and I went into um, what my focus is going to be for the remainder of this year. Um, you know, essentially, I made a commissions list with different prices and
Oh,
a couple of different sizes, and I'm just gonna, you know, focus on getting a ton of commissions done. Ones I already have, and you know, if anybody wants to commission me, now's a good time. And the other thing is my project 31 Ghosts, which was originally it was a Inktober project. I only did 3 pieces, and I was like, well, screw that. You know, it's just a comic project, and it's the one I decided to do. I'm going to do it start to finish and publish it, and that will be my first book out. Um,
awesome.
yeah, so I have lots of other things, you know, in various states of being worked on, but I'm putting everything else aside and just going to focus on essentially those 2 things. Um, you know, if it's kind of like this, like, you know, we have too many nothing but trouble with our cats and fleas and bed bugs and yada
Oh,
yada yada. Um, so we, you know, we got a ton of bills that we got to catch up on, um, and it's like I'm on the verge of getting a day job, but I'm not
that
gonna.
sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's in the back of my mind, but I'm not gonna, you know, not gonna be worried. If I have to pull that trigger and get a day job, then that's what's gonna happen. But I'm gonna avoid it uh, with, you know, all I'm worth, you know, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
um, but you know, it's like I had a. Sandy said I have to be up at 4 a.m. Have fun, guys. We'll get you
That's
on, Sandy. Thanks. um, but yeah, you know, it's like it's it's a lot of things that have been happening recently, and I was doing some inking gigs, which was covering my income, but one, you know, stopped because of creative differences.
oh,
And the other one was actually a result of the first one not working out.
that sucks.
But you know, it's like, you know, I just want to work on my own books, so that's really what I should be focusing on. Um, so even if I get a day job, I'm going to get 31 Ghosts done this year, one
Awesome.
one way or another, and get that out. You know, it probably won't be published till next year. You know, because
Yeah, publishing.
printers take time and whatnot. But
I've not messed with publishing. From what I've heard, it's not quick.
yeah, you know, depending on who I'm going to use, I'll probably use Kablam more than likely, unless I don't know. That's still like when I'm really get the pages mapped out and whatnot.
Hmm.
Because I might do a unique kind of book rather than a typical comic format thing.
What do you?
because
Are
what
you
I
willing to talk about what uniqueness you had in mind?
well, because okay, I'm doing 9 by 6 illustrations, nine
Okay.
inches by 6 inches, um, and I'm kind of thinking of them as the right page with text on the left side.
Okay.
So it's not a typical comic form. So I might do it as like a unique book format.
I
Um,
dig that. Yeah.
and because I was kind of thinking like a previous Inktober project was my creation Bobby B Boy, which you know might also be a regular comic or might be a unique sort of book format. But I'll really give it some heavy thought because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot because there's standard comic format for a reason. More people are comfortable with that, and if you do something unique, then it's like, where do I put it on my shelf? Um, you know.
Very important question. That's something I thought about because I'm one of the kind of odd people in the group of the hundreds. Is that I was inspired more by webcomics than actual print comics. Like I collected some print comics back in the day when I was younger, and I still love them. But like the internet is definitely where I'm most excited by reading my comics and all that sort of stuff. And something that has kind of been bred in that sort of environment is this idea of the infinite canvas or being able to do whatever you want. Like you do animations and music and like have a canvas that scrolls down for a mile, if you really want to. And it's all just you can do whatever you want with comics. So when it comes to print, I like the idea of things that aren't like the normal format and the normal layout, because why not try something new and weird? Admittedly, I think there's a lot of people that don't like new and weird, so might not be the best idea, but that's something that I am more interested in, honestly.
Right. Um, well, it it will really just come to me. I'll just go with my gut when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Um, what the project calls out to be, kind of thing. Um, I am of the older generation where I like things standard format. When it comes to printed books, there are exceptions, but we'll see. It's like I'm not adverse to doing different things myself. Um, because I know a lot of what I'll be doing is standard comic fare, so why not do a couple of things that are different?
Yeah.
Uh,
Step out of that zone every now and then.
yeah. So what are your favorite webcomics? Do you follow anything heavily
Uh,
nowadays?
Unfortunately, I don't have time, it feels like, to follow stuff as much. But when I first started drawing, I was reading like several dozen webcomics. I was trying to keep up with them all, and like I knew all their update schedules, so I knew when to check. Like I was super hooked. And uh, there's one comic. I haven't read it in years, and it kind of got really weird and out of hand. But it was called Homestuck, which a lot of people on the internet probably aren't fond of because there's a lot of like weirdness with the community there. But like that was one of the first ones I started reading, and they did a lot of weird things with like animation and music, and that kind of inspired me to start trying to figure out how to draw and make comics of my own. I did like little imitations back then, and then I discovered more, I would say, normal comics. Like there's one I've been following for years called Goblins, and it's like based on a D&D sort of story. and it has like the normal page layout stuff like that. It's all webcomic, but it could very easily be printed. And then there's like Girl Genius and a bunch of others I can't think of off the top of my head. Pretty much anything. If you go to like a local small comic convention, anything there I'll dig pretty much.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of the independent artists and the webcomic artists and stuff like that. So when I get to do conventions, I love wandering around just talking to any sort of like smaller booths and just kind of getting their story and reading their stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm weird in that I don't read a lot of like Marvel and DC comics. I enjoy the characters, I just don't seek it out so much.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like I don't really buying anything at this time. Um, there was, not too long ago where I was following a bunch of web comics, but um, it's kind of like what I'm doing is what I'm into. It's
Mm-hmm.
like now I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos because I'm posting a lot of YouTube videos. Um,
Makes sense.
but not too long ago, a couple was, working on my webcomics, and I was following a lot of webcomics.
That
And,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it makes sense, but it's like, I don't know. I know I have to make time to read, and, not only like comics, like I've gotten a bunch of things through Kickstarter and just ordering books online and whatnot, and that I have yet to read. Um,
And the pile ever grows
it's like I'm
larger.
so yeah, um, but it's like I guess it's like I'm supporting these people, um, but to really support them, I should be reading it and doing reviews. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, like I was on Comic Fury with Community, and you ever hear of it?
I have, and yeah, no, that's where I hosted my webcomic too.
Oh, okay.
The
There
thing
you
that
go.
I haven't updated in like 4 years.
Yeah, well,
So
we
sad.
suck.
Yeah. No, that's accurate. Just it's all
uh,
dusty and old and covered in spider webs.
you know, I do plan on like I want to get a couple of books under my belt. Um, and 31 Ghosts is going to be the first thing. I have a one shot called Arena, which is literally like 90% done. I just have to
Awesome.
do production on it, and it's something like I said I would do years ago. Like I was just an anchor on a project. I've spoken of this before, but if anybody doesn't know, um, it's like the artist, and it was his son who wrote the story. It was just a one shot, sort of very simplistic gladiator story, but with aliens. Um,
All right.
and and the yeah, so the artist had his own way, and he was doing a bunch of one shots, and um, because he hired me as anchor on this project, I was like, I saw a couple of the other one shots he put out, and I was like, well, that's okay, and I just felt like I put um, a little more into our story, Arena, than he did in the other one shots. And I was like, well, let me publish this. So I got a friend of mine to do a cover, pencil cover, which I inked, and this other guy I knew to cover it, and I've been bad. I've been sitting on it, um, but put something of my own creation out first under my brand name, and that's why I haven't published that yet. Um, so that will be like the second or third book, depending, that I publish through Has Comics. Um, and yeah, so like in January, I'm going to be retro short story for the 100 anthology. Um, but also I'll be working on another story with Dom from Jason Brubaker's Jason Brubaker's um, sort of media consultant, is writing a book that this guy Austin is going to be penciling, and I'm going to be inking, and that I believe we're starting in January. And I got a couple of other things going on.
You're gonna have a
Um,
busy start to your new year.
yeah, either January or shortly thereafter. Um, and it's sort of, like as soon as I get a couple of things accomplished in the beginning of the year, then I'll be diving into my second one with the focus on Bright Eyes, because I really want to get the first issue of Bright Eyes out next year. Um, and then, then it's really fair game with what I'm truly trying to accomplish, which is to work on all my books full time, which is like I have 4 different ones, um, that any or um, but one which is specifically a Patreon own project.
Okay.
Fueled by patrons, as I put it. And I've been sort of lax on that, because I've been meaning to like really get pages done for the longest time on that. Been sort of on, here and there, but uh, it's all about like being a sustainable artist and trying to balance interesting projects and commissions and easy money things.
It's difficult. Oh,
Yeah, things sort of like get put on a shelf, or I grab new opportunities, and I get distracted by people coming at me with opportunities. um, and then a lot of times, uh, that's where things fall on their face. um, but it's like, well, gosh darn it, it's like I want to really projects, and I'm going to find a way to make that work.
awesome.
Yeah, so
Hope you managed to make that work because certainly harder to do than it seems most of the time.
yeah. Well, um, I think one of the biggest things that I haven't made a priority, which I'm trying to do with the remainder of this year, is really do a ton more art. And it's like, because I do a couple of pieces, then I sort of get into that whole, I really wish I was better kind of
Oh yeah,
funk, and it's
I know
like,
that well.
um, I think every artist faces that.
Yeah.
Um, but I just have to. thicker skin and just go with how good I am today, kind of thing. And I mean, if people are paying me for commissions, then they want me, what I could do today, not what I could do in 6 years.
Exactly. They see what you can do, and they're paying you for it now.
Yeah. So I know one of the things I want to do is just even just a little time each day spend on working to improve my skills, but nothing really improves your skills like doing finished pieces. Just
Yeah.
do one after the other, after the other, after the other. And so that's going to be my thing. I'm going to put aside a certain amount each day to work on 31 Ghosts. But a lot of the rest of my day will be taken up with doing commissions, other than promoting the hell out of everything I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
online, which also takes up time, and making videos, and yeah.
There's not enough hours.
Yeah, but um, if I'm not going to have it, it's still up in the air, but um, I can put in 12-hour day. I could put in a 16-hour day if I want.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like that's how you have to do it. From the people that are successful, you just put in way more hours than you would at any other job, and then you could get there. You have to do
yeah,
like 12-hour days and stuff like that.
I mean it's kind of easy, like inking, and it varies, but I can really get into a stride with inking, and it's mindless. It's creative, but I could really get into a pattern with it. Um, Unfortunately, like the perfect inking project hasn't come my way. One that not only fulfills me creatively, and I tend to like um, pencils that are like need finishes, need embellishment. I don't like tightly penciled work.
You don't want okay, so you have a little more freedom.
Yeah, like to do something.
Makes sense.
And I also need the artist's permission.
Yeah.
But I mean, that may sound funny, but like I'm 100% serious. Like, uh, I like working with pencils, and I am flexible. I'm not good on everyone, but I try to give them what they want while also knowing my needs, which is like wanting to add something to it,
Hmm.
of my own flair. Um, so I mean that essentially was like the creative difference I had on the project recently, and it was like there was nothing I was adding that was anything the penciler wanted. He
Oh.
exactly what they were doing, and I was like, well, I'm just xeroxing your pencils, and I, you know, I I didn't like it at all.
At that
Um,
point, it sounds more like it's production instead of like creation. It's like you're just making the exact thing and not really changing or being creative with it.
Now, mind you, if I was getting paid $200 a page, I would have stuck with it.
That's true.
Wasn't it was a fair rate, but it wasn't anything special, and it really it was a lot more work than the rate was.
That makes sense.
You know, um, it wasn't really worth my time. So there it goes. But I'm also like verging on. I want to be a better artist. I also want to like I want to not only do my own books, like write pencil, ink. I'll probably get professional colorists, but um, I not only want to do my own, create our own sequentials, but I would love to do sequentials for small publishers or what have you. And I've talked to a few people, and we'll see if anything develops in that direction. Um,
All right.
because I think the time of me really being satisfied as an inker for other people is, mm, I hate to say it, but maybe coming to an end. Um, because I love inking, but it's it's just the inking rates have gone south, and um, I'm not making a living off of it.
That's
And
rough.
yeah, so it's really like I have to find that other thing, and like my second best income has been through commissions, but I know I like a lot of things, I start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, and I can't do that. I gotta plow through.
Yeah.
I just gotta keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and keep it consistent.
Pretty much just how you have to do it, but I don't know. It's the sometimes it's difficult to push on and keep up with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'll be honest, like I'm talking from a point of view where like I have the day job. I have not hit the point yet where I can go without it. So like even just seeing how much work folks like you who are actually doing that have to go through, it's like I don't know if I have the if I'm ready to handle that just yet.
yeah. Well, it meant, and it's. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's not. It's not an easy thing. Um, and I know. Like I fail more than I succeed, and I mean, they talk about that in baseball and sports and whatnot. It's like, well, you miss more baskets than you hit.
Mm-hmm.
Score, but it's a risky lifestyle, um, for the average person. And being an artist isn't easy, and there's a lot of competition. It's not necessarily the best artist that succeeds the most.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, and it's part of it's marketing. It's like if I was a double D chick, people would be paying more attention to me. If
Well,
I
it is the internet, so
if I was younger, I mean that's also an advantage, it seems. But regardless, like I do have an audience, and if I just follow through with um, what and not get that sort of that stuck um, in it could be better what I'm doing, whatever
mhm.
mode, um, and just put in your best day's work and do the same tomorrow and do the same the day after and so on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if Jeff Lafferty could do it, I could do it too.
Pretty much. Anyone
Yeah,
can
yeah,
if you have the drive for it.
yeah. Well, I think I'm, you know, I'm sort of realizing that I need to freaking get out of the way of myself and just do it.
Yeah.
You know, because I am like most people, worst enemy.
It seems pretty common, especially in the art field, that a lot of people have that same sort of trouble where we're our own worst critic, we're our own like strongest barrier sort of thing. We're always the one that's making it more difficult for ourselves.
Yeah,
And in theory, it seems easy to be able to stop doing that, but really just takes the right sort of dedication to be able to sit down and be like, all right, this is how I'm going to do it. This is my plan. I'm going to stick to it.
yeah.
Um,
So that's my plan.
yeah, I think it sounds good. I'm pretty much the exact opposite when it comes to plans at the moment because I'm just like, let's have my face again while I'm talking. Um, like my plan is just make art. That's all I've got right now. Because if I just keep doing that, I'll get better. Like even I don't. I know like doing specific studies really helps you improve, but that doesn't. It's not something I can do very long before getting bored. So I'm like, I'll just practice by finishing things. Just keep drawing, keep working on it, keep trying to like post it and share it, and maybe eventually this will start kind of building up some momentum and get somewhere further. That's going back to the anthology thing. That's kind of why I'm really excited to be a part of that because it's something much bigger than anything I've done before that I get to be a part of. And then if I could use this as a stepping stone to go off and like keep building my momentum from there and keep making my own things from that point, and start telling my own stories again, which is something I've had in my mind for years. Like I have tons of stories that I want to work on, and funnily enough, I was working on my Outer Demons comic for the first time I did the hundreds, and then like a few weeks ago, I came up with a brand new comic idea that was more exciting. So I've moved on to this new thing, which right now I'm very excited about, but it means I'm starting from scratch again. So hopefully with the momentum of having like a finished story printed and published, then I can, maybe do a slightly longer story and just start building from there. Because I think that's kind of how I have to do it, because I want to do this big, massive comic that goes on for issues and issues, but it's too big. I can't start that now. I can't really wrap my mind around finishing it. So I need to focus on the small goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's sort of common sense. Like, if you're new and you're green, meaning like we haven't published a comic
Mm-hmm.
book. It's like you can think of like, yeah, do this 13 part graphic novel and yada yada yada. While that may get you super stoked initially, you're going to fall on your face earlier. Start small, start simple, and just build.
Exactly.
I followed a lot of independent creators through the years who like, they put out something once a year until they really got into a rhythm and then started some serious books. But it's like the same thing like with novelists. Like, it's like, oh, this publisher signed me up to do a couple of books, so I'm going do a epic science feed. It will go on for novels and novels. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to start my own language in it, and you know, be the next J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, no, I get that feeling.
I'll start my own religion too, and
I'll have people worshiping my fake religion, and
yes,
we'll have weddings based around it. And make the comic first, or make the story first. Just
yeah, yeah, and I finally said, I'd love to work on everything, and that was sort of my plan. And I guess I'd just been struggling with that back and forth, um, and is trying to be consistent enough to make a living doing what I'm doing. And it's because my output has been varied, my results have been varied, and I'm just going to keep it simple and go forward, and ta-da. We'll see what happens.
step 1, make comics. Step 3, profit.
Yes.
Somewhere in the middle, something happens.
Yeah. So we have a couple of people watching, but nobody's commenting in the live chat. Let's see what's happening on Facebook. Nothing's happening on Facebook. Okay.
It's a pretty slow one today.
That's cool. It's almost an hour. I mean, we started on time, so.
Didn't realize we've been going that long.
Yeah, it goes fast.
It does, yeah.
I mean, I could blabber on,
Well, thankfully one of us can. I can do it in videos when there's editing and retries, but live stream's a little trickier.
Do you want to, since you're drawing something, we want to talk a little bit about what you're working on right now?
Sure, yeah. I'll actually switch back to it. What I'm working on right now, also, I don't know if this is, inappropriate for a little bit of, side nudity there, but it's basically what I was talking about with the comic. I had this new idea a few weeks ago, and this is kind of the picture that came into my head, and now I'm trying to make a comic around it, so I wanted to at least get this first picture done. And it's weird because this was the first time this happened, but it was a song that inspired this. I heard this random, it's because I have YouTube playlists going when I'm at work, and it just skips through random stuff. And there's this electronic song that I've never heard before. I don't know why it's suggested to me, but it really triggered some visual sort of thing in my head where I was like, oh, I can see the story of this person, this other woman, and there's this apocalypse sort of thing, and just kept building in my head as I was listening. And I was like, I need to create this. I want it to be a thing now. I need to figure out how to bring it into life. And then I've spent 2 weeks trying to draw the single picture, so I'm pretty slow when it comes to art, unfortunately. But it's, who knows, I might try and do something with the story for the anthology. Because I think the theme was more it was space or something like that. What was the theme that ended up getting voted for?
I'll find it. It's
Lost in Space or something.
Something. Hold on.
But while you're looking for that, it's just
Life in Space.
Life in Space. Yes.
Yeah, exactly that.
And so my original idea for that was someone lost in a spaceship on their own, or in a space station trying to live day to day with no one else. And I'm kind of expanding that idea to robot apocalypse sort of stuff, because for some reason I enjoy stories of the apocalypse. But yeah, so this is kind of the I guess the tone setting image I'm doing for the comic, and I'll build it from there. And maybe it'll. I think it might actually be an anthology thing because it kind of fits. I don't have any scripts or anything written for it yet because I don't really work in quite that method. I work more like through storyboarding and just sketch out scene by scene and step by step, and then I figure it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, um, even though I always wanted to be a writer, I tend to just like slap things together and see where it goes.
Um, that's how I do comics, yeah. Because I even started like when I first started doing art, there was this idea of a choose your own adventure style comic where you don't actually like build up all the different scenarios, but you put a few like pages of updates up, and then your readers suggest what happens next. And it gets really silly and weird pretty quickly, but that kind of inspired the way I write because I just kind of create and then figure out what happens next from there. Because I've never wanted to be a writer. I'm not good at writing. I like the visual side.
You need to team up then.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always like, I don't know how well I'd do in a team because I have these. They're not well written in my head, but I have these stories that I want to tell and show. I worry that like working in a team, it wouldn't be the story I want it to be. I don't know. It's needlessly worrying about things I don't have to deal with right now, but
Well, putting a good team together is a challenge in itself. I mean, when a team clicks, you know it. Like when you see a team working on a comic, that are really working on all cylinders together and really taking the book somewhere to a higher level.
mm-hmm.
You can really, really just feel it. But other than that, it's like artists fighting the writer and a writer fighting the artist, and it's
I've
just a
heard too
mess.
many just like nightmare stories about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like you need a writer to sort of follow your guidelines.
Yeah, I need someone who can take my idea and figure out how to make it well written, essentially. So
Yeah,
someone who's willing to work with the kind of ideas I have, but make them good.
yeah.
And for a while there, one of my like oldest friends, and we were like roommates in college, stuff like that. We had planned on working on comics together because he was an English major, writer, all that sort of stuff. But like that just never quite happened, unfortunately. And now we're both like off on our own things, doing our own lives. So I'd have to find someone that I don't really know. Essentially, I'd have to find someone new, which is kind of interesting prospect.
So if you're a writer
If you want to
listening to
write
this,
for space robot apocalypses or things like that, let me know. I'd be down. Be willing to give working with a writer a try.
cool.
Although they'd have to be willing to put up with my slow drawing speed. As much as I love drawing, I am not the quickest artist.
Not everyone is. It's
All the
so.
more amazing. Oh, sorry.
I just want to. I wanted to hear your thoughts. So, okay, the theme for the anthology is life in space, and I really didn't mention it in the group. And there was some people sort of explaining what they thought it meant for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with my sort of story not really fitting into a theme.
Okay.
Uh, so I could take my square peg and fit it in a round hole. So I can make it work. That's my confidence level of I can figure it out later. Um,
I like that.
um, but I'm not like, and it's sort of presented in such a way. It's like, this is the theme, uh, but it doesn't have to be exactly one thing. So it is molded different ways.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think it means to you, like life in space?
Um,
Like that doesn't mean like an astronaut in space living his life.
Absolutely not.
It can mean 100 different things.
That's the direction I took it when I first
Yeah,
started. Was
yeah,
lost in space, sort of like living out in the middle of zero G, like sort of thing. But really, it doesn't necessarily need to be about being in the stars, sort of thing, because that topic is pretty broad. It could even be stuff I'm trying to figure out how to word this, like stuff like normal everyday sort of stuff, like living in a space of like a community, or like trying to find your own space in like a family, who knows, that sort of thing. Like you could really interpret it in ways that aren't just stars. And
yeah,
it feels like that's kind of the idea, is that we have this phrase, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the obvious for that phrase.
yeah. Because then it would be like 12 stories of
You
some
have a lot of space
astronaut
stories.
living in space. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would get a little old pretty quickly, I feel.
Mm,
But honestly, I hadn't really thought about it too much until just now. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be one interpretation.
yeah.
So it really could just be anything that kind of, you could do like metaphorical space and stuff like that. I just realized I'm not on camera. I'm waving my hands through like half this right now.
That's more exciting that way.
It
Even
is. That's
even if we can't
how we
see
talk.
it.
Just imagine I'm frantically gesturing while I'm talking and drawing somehow. Uh, so since you brought it up, what is your interpretation?
Well, that's just it. I mean, like I know the kind of story I'm going to be telling, and exactly what I described before. I'm going to take my round peg and put it in a square hole. I'm going to figure out what it means to me.
Okay, I dig that. I
Mm,
think that really fits the idea of the anthology well.
yeah,
Like, not having to force it, or not having to like tell the exact same story or tell the exact same theme, because we're a lot of very different artists. Like, under normal circumstances, I don't think a lot of us would have like been in the same sort of communities, because a lot of us do a lot of different styles and have a lot of different interests.
yeah.
So we could have a lot of different interpretations.
I mean, that's what I love about the community, that we're all like coming from different places and living different lives, and you know
Yeah, it's
have
really cool.
have different tastes. You know.
It's honestly why I'm so excited that I get to be a part of the community. And it just kind of happened. And I have YouTube to thank for all this. So I hadn't
Yes.
watched. It wasn't even a video of Kevin Cross. It was like some other artist that mentioned Kevin Cross briefly, and I just looked him up and then found the challenge. And the next day, I was like, I'm doing this. I just went from there. I think a lot of people have very similar stories. Like, just kind of fell into this thing and then just started happening.
So there's a Kurthar 73. He says, "I'm here. I'm here listening and enjoying, but I don't have nothing to ask. Just enjoying to talk, folks.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. But yeah, like you almost said, like um, in regards to the theme and stuff, like for forcing it into like story, like um, it's like not where you were going, but it almost sounded like you on the verge of saying that. Um, and I'm like, even though I'm sort of visualizing it in the sense of a round peg going to a square hole, I'm doing the opposite. I'm not forcing it. And kind of what you were saying, like, I am giving it my own independent spin,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, definitely.
I think I could use that kind of very effectively. Um, it may not be blatant, it may be more subtle, um, but sort of like, like going to see a movie, and nothing comes to mind, but going to see a movie and like enjoying, like, say, an action adventure type movie, um, and then just before you go to sleep that night, you're really thinking about that movie, and you're like, all of a sudden you become totally aware that there was a mess movie kind of thing. And I think I'm gonna sort of come at it like that.
Okay.
um, I mean, we'll see what develops, but I think that to me is like part of the fun. It's such a short, it's a short story. And there's only so much you can do, but I think it's a story in my character's life, and um, so I could definitely use like some themes in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Now I'm even more excited because I'm curious how other people interpret this idea and what they'll do with it.
oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun
Yeah.
for sure. And it's like one of the most important books for me growing up was like heavy metal.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you know heavy metal at all, it's just there were, at times whenever you were reading it, I read it in the early days when it had material in it. It got flaky and useless later on in its existence, but uh, it was it had a couple of ongoing stories at different points, um, but just a lot of random stories done by some really amazing writers and artists. And um, individually, not have, you might have passed it by in a comic shop, but
Mm.
because they were all in this amazing magazine collectively, uh, it was something very special, very
Yeah,
special. And that's, I hope that is what we create um, for people, and
I definitely think we will.
um, no, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel doing stories myself. Um, but I just, I just want to have fun and hopefully give fun to the reader, and do the best I can do, and eventually make awesomely great stories. I I know I'll have to make 100 mistakes first, but
Well, as long as you're on track and making those mistakes, you get closer to making the good one without
yeah.
mistakes.
So I think this was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish to promote, other than like where people could follow you?
Um. Okay. Well, actually, yes. I'm starting to try. Well, let's bring my face up again. Um, I actually am starting to try and do Sunday morning drawing streams. I did one this last week. I had like one person hang out, so pretty minor so far. I've only done it twice, but I'm trying it on Picarto, I believe
Yes.
is how it's pronounced. It's a interesting little streaming service. I used to do like live streams and stuff like that before. Um, but I've got picarto.tv/string is where I'll be doing those. So I'm going to try and do them every Sunday around 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And, I'm hoping to build something out of that. Other than that, I've got the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/c/string cheese with a Z. I haven't done any videos yet, but I'm going to start doing more when the January hits and we start doing the anthology work. So expect another round of the hundreds for me then.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I set up a Picardo page. It might be called Human Art Studio. I think that's where I first encoding, or there's something about their setup. It's not. It wasn't as straightforward as YouTube.
It is definitely not. It
Yeah.
is. It's really kind of difficult to get the first time. Like I had to go through tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Once you get set up, it's just one button, so it's not too bad. But the initial setup's pretty rough, and I don't know. It's kind of nice. I'm not 100% sold on it yet, which is why I'm trying to, experiment with a little more and see. But it's neat so far. And nothing wrong with it. Nothing too amazing about it, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I mean it's it's not a bad thing, as artists to like learn and use other sites even outside their norm. Um, I do want to live stream, and I'll probably try it on a bunch of different platforms. A lot more people, in the last couple of months, I've seen have been gravitating towards um, Twitch.
Do they let you do art on Twitch?
I assume so, because I see a lot of artists saying, "I'm going to live stream on Twitch. Come watch." I know
That's
Jeff laughing with his friend Mike Fleming. I still have yet to catch them live, but they do it past midnight or something my time, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm still interested in Picarto, but I mean, it's like I'm interested in doing 1,000 things.
I know that feeling.
I'm trying to strangle myself sometimes and say, no, no,
Slow down a little bit.
bad, bad boy. Um,
But the Twitch thing is actually kind of intriguing. I might have to look into that.
yeah, and it's I'm not sure if the setup's easier or whatever, but it's like a lot of live streaming now. It's set up for mostly gamers, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, like Picardo, there's a ton of artists, and a lot of artists to stream on there, and they have all sorts of categories, and you can do, new drawings or whatever if you want.
Hmm.
Um, but I've heard very good things about Twitch. Um, Isaac Teaches, who is, works for Jason Brubaker, um, is I'm part of a chat group on Facebook with him and a bunch of other people. There's this guy, artist Ralph. I'm not sure. He might only go by Ralph. He's a really good artist, and he's always talking about Twitch.
Okay.
Um, so he's one of the people that I keep hearing about Twitch from, and he says like there's functions, like I don't know if it's groups or something, however it's set up, but if you stream on Twitch and sort of join an artist group that I don't know, notifications go out to all of them, or
Oh,
something like very in your favor of
good way to
other
advertise.
people seeing it and promoting it, and like rather than just like posting it yourself everywhere and nobody showing up, kind of thing.
That sounds really interesting.
Like
I'm,
something automatically, like if you're streaming, then yeah. So I'm very interested myself, but I'm going to hold off on doing anything special for a while.
okay. Well, I might give it a poke. Next week I'm going to do on Picardo because I don't really have time to mess around with Twitch just yet. But if it's
Yeah.
really that good, I'll give it a try. I'm really just I'm open to whatever. I'm not sold on any particular site.
Yeah.
Might try streaming on YouTube too sometime, but that seems a little intimidating to me.
To stream on YouTube?
Yeah, because the it has the recording there, and I can't like edit it or do anything with it. It's there and it's permanent. I want to be able to, if I'm going to record, I want to be able to edit it and cut it down and make it a little more streamlined.
Right. Well, I mean, you can control it however you want.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, you could stream on YouTube without anybody seeing it, and then edit, and then put up an edited video.
That's true. I know. So I've
So
stuff to give a try. Apparently.
it's all in your control.
You're sounding a little like an YouTube advert right now.
Yes.
You have the
Welcome to YouTube. We give you the power.
power.
But all right. What did I want to look at? Oh, yeah, we're just about leaving now. Um, but yeah, so I'll mention, if you catch this before tomorrow, I'll be uploading at least one video, hopefully two, and then I'll be able to get fully into my news schedule for which will be the remainder of the year, unless go critical into the red, at which point I'll get a day job. Short period of time.
Yeah, doesn't have to be permanent.
So we'll see. But I'll be posting. Well, I already posted my commissions list online on Facebook and on Instagram, probably also on Twitter. So if you want to go check it out and see if there's commissions you want me to do of comic book characters, movie stars, porn stars, whatever. Um, yeah, so you can commission me if you want. But yeah, I'll be diving into 31 Ghosts and commissions and posting them just about everywhere I am. And yeah, go check out my YouTube channel. On the front page is a full list of the studio synergies coming out for the remainder of this year, exactly what days and what times, but it's mostly 11 p.m. Eastern time, and it's also mostly Monday night and Friday nights, a couple of Wednesday or Thursdays thrown in because holidays and whatnot.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, if you have any questions or topics you want us to comment about or talk about, please message me anywhere or just below the videos, and I'll make sure to make a note of it and make it a theme for upcoming videos. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's it. Goodbye.
So long, everyone.